So you've decided that you want to become a planner or a strategist in an agency, and you're probably thinking to yourself, shit, what now? Well, in this episode, I'm talking to a junior planner called Ben, who's based in an independent agency in Sydney. And he's been on a wild ride and has a treasure of things to share with you today. So please like and subscribe and yeah, enjoy the video. So Ben, welcome to Shit What Now. Thank you so much for jumping on. Our first ever interviewee on here. Mate, not a problem at all. So mate, tell us a bit about yourself, who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Ben. I'm a junior planner here at The Hallway. I think I've just clicked over 6 months now. So I guess what I do here is trying to be the most useful tool that the planning department has. So it's trying to find nuggets of insights, cultural truths, and bringing them to creative briefs, to proactive ideas. And yeah, that kind of takes me down a lot of avenues, whether it's Reddit discussion, forums, trying to get into Kmart Mum's Facebook groups and see what they're talking about, see what's hot, and what's reeling them in there. And then, yeah, going out, chatting to people and just bringing that, bringing a unique lens to any problems our clients are having, and how we can, help improve their business.
At Shit What Now, we're all about helping people break into advertising. So I guess you, as being a junior planner who's just come into an independent agency, loving life, absolutely killing it, what would be, what was your sort of blueprint and how did you break into advertising?
Yeah, so my blueprint, I wouldn't really call it a blueprint. It was much of like crossroads lines, a bit of a journey, quite unorthodox. But, speaking to people in the industry, I don't think there's any traditional way into advertising or in planning. Anyway, so cracking from the start, I've always had like an interest in brands, understanding why people do what they do, what makes them tick. And as a fresh high school grad, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do marketing, I'm going to do psychology, put it together, wrap it up at a double degree at uni. So I kicked off that, it was all good. And then I got into my first internship straight out of uni at TripAdvisor with one of their recently acquired startups. So I was in that startup tech environment for a while, which was super cool. And I was a marketing intern. So it was very marketing focused, marketing lens. And a couple of months into that, I started to get a bit worried. Marketing it wasn't what I expected. It was very, not very creative. It was very like, campaign orientated. Anyway, from my perspective, and I was getting a bit worried. Like, I just started out. I got 3 more years left of my degree. I don't really like it. Yeah. And then I got pulled into, on my last week there, I got pulled into a creative pitch from an agency that was pitching a full end campaign to us. And that was the first time I really saw creativity, psychology, what people do, how to get a brand to interact with people and form that personal connection. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, like this is what I thought marketing was, creativity, people lens, people focus. And after that pitch, I was speaking to my boss. And I'm like, I think that's what I want to do. I think it's advertising. I never experienced advertising before. I had no idea what advertising was. I just thought, it's all marketing. And so once I finished that internship, I knew, I needed to try and crack into an advertising agency. So I went to another independent communications company in Australia. It's called. So my title there was emotional brand alignment intern. So nice starter.
Yeah, awesome. Okay.
So I was very much experiential marketing, sponsorship. So I did some cool stuff. I got to see behind the scenes of the Australian Open. Had clients like Kia, Ferrari. So it was cool. I went to the Ferrari offices. It was a good experience. But again, I just knew there was one step further to that. There was a bit more I wanted. It was not quite what I was seeing in that creative pitch with the TVCs and the out of home. And so, I was like, I got to keep going. And this is where it kind of gets a little bit hairy. So I went to New York on a holiday. This was in 2018, and I knew some guys at this advertising agency called Johannes Leonardo. So another independent agency.
Very good agency.
yeah, another independent. I love the independence. Anyway, so I went to an independent agency there. I spent a week with their planning department. I was on holidays, had some free time. I'm like, look, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go spend the week there, see what
Sorry,
it's
mate, can I
like.
just stop you there? So you went there on holiday
Yeah, with
and
my
then
girlfriend
you
in New Year's Eve.
decided to spend a week.
Yeah,
Mate, that is hats off
yeah,
to you, my friend. That is
yeah.
unbelievable. So I know we're kind of going off piece here, but I just want to dig on this a bit more. So how long were you in New York for in total?
Oh,
Well, like on your supposed
yeah,
holiday?
not long. Maybe like it was like I'll say 2 weeks. 2 weeks it was.
Yeah, right.
And then I spent a week with them, and then a week in New York. So I was around. It was a trip around Canada, so I did a week there, and I kind of went back afterwards because we didn't really get to experience New York with my girlfriend, so felt a bit bad. So we went back again. We went back again after my 1 week stint there. So yeah, so that was my first real taste of actual planning in a real creative agency. And
Mm.
why not do it? My first experience was with one of the best. So I was that first week they won Volkswagen North America. So
Wow.
they won that account when I was there in that week. So I got to see the real glamour side of advertising. We had champagne, we went to had this big party of winning this new client. And
Yeah.
after that, they had Adidas, they had Gap, so all the big guns. And I really had
Unbelievable portfolio.
or as an intern for a week, yeah. And then
Yeah.
from there, I knew people were speaking about their summer internship program that they would run. And when I got back to
Mm.
Australia, I'm like, do I have a crack at it? Do I have a crack at applying for their couple of months New York summer internship? I kind of met the planning guys. Do I have a stab at it? And I was like, why not? I applied, and I got in. And that was in December. I had that week, and then June, July, and August, I was there as an intern, a proper intern working with clients,
Mm.
as a junior strategist. And it
So
was
just on
great.
that, Ben, mate, that's firstly well done. Congratulations. Like, fuck, man, that's breaking into a place like that is pretty impressive. I know
Yeah,
some people who've worked there, and it's a very, very impressive shot. Just wanted to kind of touch on something that you mentioned earlier. So you had the summer, you approached them and interned there for a week,
yeah,
and then you
yeah,
saw that their summer internship was on there as well. Just
yeah.
talk me through your process for how you approached that agency in the first instance for working there for that week. What was like? How did you do it? Who did you speak to? What was
Yeah,
your overall experience?
yeah. So I knew some of the guys. So I knew some of the guys who worked in the planning department, and I used the same technique I used in New York, that I did a bit later on in Australia. But I'll touch on that in a sec. So I just reached out, and passion really. Advertising is a funny industry where I think they value passion a lot. I feel like if you're an accountant,
Definitely.
and I'm just because my brother's an accountant, I'm just thinking, if you're an accountant and you want to work, at an accounting firm, how much can you love accounting? I don't know. This is from advertising perspective. I don't know if you can be like, I love accounting so much. Spreadsheets, making sheets balance. Like, I live for that.
Under strengths, you've just put accounts.
Yeah.
That's your job, though. That's just...
Anyway, advertising is a bit different. I was really passionate. I was still at uni. I'm like, I really want to get experience. I want to be with the best. I want to really make something of myself in this industry. And people, really respect that, especially from the younger. I was young at that time, and they respect that, and that's what really got me into the door. And same like here in Australia. And I think they saw that, and they just gave me a crack at an opportunity for the week to see how it played out. And if you're able to kick those thought starters, it can really lead to a bigger idea, a bigger thought process that can become the base of a campaign, base of insights, or the base of a creative brief. So that was my takeaway from there. Is always speak what's on your mind. Think about what you want to say. Sometimes a lot of the first thing that comes to your mind needs to be fleshed out a bit more before you speak. But it's definitely if you know it's right, you feel like it's right, definitely get it off your chest.
Hollywood kind of glamorizes it here with Don Draper, where a brief comes in and then he cracks the line in like 2 minutes. I think that's a really key takeout is the dumb thought that leads to the big thought. I think I would encourage that for people, irrespective of what discipline you're in, whether you're in account management or wherever, as long as you're in a creative business. At the end of the day, we're all responsible. We all belong to a creative company. It doesn't all just fall on one department.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, I think that's super valuable. So again, just kind of unpacking the summer internship. Specifically, what did you have to do for that? What did they want from you?
So while I was working there, I guess my best sum up of my role is I was a cultural reporter. So I was working mainly with the Adidas account, and what I was told to do was go to Central Park and ask how do women feel about the brand, because what we were doing there, we were introducing a new concept, or not a new concept of feminism, but how can Adidas play in that space. We held focus groups. That was a really new experience for me. I never held a focus group before. So we're holding focus groups. We're going out speaking to people, seeing how people shopped and interacted with the brand. So they really valued, I guess, another perspective from Australia, another culture, and seeing how we championed feminism here in Australia, which they valued quite a bit.
You did your week. You've done your summer internship. Absolutely smashed it. What was next on the horizon for you?
So I came back from New York. I had a semester left of uni, and I thought, what more could any agency want? I did the summer internship in New York. I did the internships in Sydney, graduated with a double degree. Surely the doors are open. People should be calling me into the agency, but it didn't really work out like that. So I graduated uni. That there was a few, few 1 or 2 advertising grad programs, but a lot of them were you're account executive for a year. You're in accounts for a year and a half. And I went back to my connections in New York who worked in Australia. I'm like, look, there's no junior planner roles. There's no, when I was in New York, we had 5 planning interns, and here, it's, you speak to some people, oh no, we don't have a junior planner. Our youngest planner was in accounts for 2 years and shifted over here. And I guess that was kind of my, shit, what now moment. I'm like, I've done all this. I don't really want to be in accounts for a year. I've experienced that. I kind of know what I want to do, and got a bit worried. And then everyone's kind of getting their grad jobs. You're still kicking around for what you want. And this account coordinator position came up at Starcom, and so media agency, and it was great. I really valued my time there. I learned so much about that side of advertising. And I thought that would be my stepping stone. I thought that's what I had to do to get into planning. So I took everything I could out of that. And even here today at the hallway, whenever there's a media question, or, I feel like I'm a bit experienced, and I did 6 months there. I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable for the level that I can give to the agency. And so I realized after 6 months there, like, it was a great opportunity, but I knew from New York, speaking to people, passion is what gets you into what you want to do. And so middle of the pandemic, June, July, I said goodbye to Starcom, quit middle of the pandemic. I was like, thinking back now, dumb decision, but credit to me 6 months ago for doing it, And
100%. High risk, high reward, right?
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
What is it? The bold features the brave, or fortune features.
Yeah. Fortune favors the bold.
That's it.
Or something like that.
Something like that. And so I left there. I enrolled in Miami Ad School. So that's a 12-week intensive strategy course, which helps you build up a portfolio. Very intense. And I was like, if I don't find anything, this course here will lead me to Christmas. It's 4 days a week after work. Like, it's going to keep me busy. And so I realized, I've left Starcom. I need a plan. I can't just be doing what I was doing last time and waiting for a role to come around, because I know that's not going to happen. And so what I did is I made a goal to reach out to 2 to email 2 strategists, email or try and get in contact with them. Get 3 or 4 a week. Just email, do something creative, and so I did that, and it was paying off. I was meeting with head of strategy at DDB, at Tinkerbell, at the Royals. I was meeting some good people, and they were nice. The industry is really nice, and like I mentioned, they really have a liking towards those who are passionate and really want to get into the industry, and they do want to help. And one door led to another, and I got in contact with Matt here at the Hallway, and I was just told him my story, and he took me under his wing, and I was out of work for about just under a month during the pandemic, when everyone's the uncertainty. I hate using that word during that time, but the uncertain time, and it led me to a role at the Hallway.
Congratulations on that. And I think a couple of things that I wanted to touch on as well. Just I guess a lot of people, I definitely had this when I was I had my shit what now moment, similar to you. My story is slightly different. Working at a startup agency in Northern England, I had a master's degree. I was like surely, people in London will be frothing for this. Apparently not.
Probably not. You get that moment that you're not as good as you think you are. You're not the hottest on the block. Definitely felt that.
Okay. That's a bit of a spanner in the works. But one thing that I seriously considered doing was do I do an industry specific course through the IPA, and then put that on my CV? But ultimately, I think what you did there was build your network, right? And leverage your network. And I think that's kind of one thing I've, talking to grads throughout my career, have encouraged massively is, I think I heard it in a podcast somewhere, that your net worth is your net worth. Yeah. And I really, really believe in that. And to your point, people are actually a lot more accommodating than people think.
Yeah, people are really nice out there.
Yeah, people, so especially, during a pandemic, and I mean, even, putting, now that I'm kind of towards, that the other end of the, I'm now in that position where I'm making hiring decisions and what have you. It's actually like, I give kudos to people that do reach out and do have the initiative, and unless they're being completely obnoxious, as long as they ask politely, I'm more than happy to have a coffee and help out.
Exactly. What I learned. So I think in total I met with, I think it was 10 or 11 strategy directors, CSOs. And the thing is that I never asked for a job, and I think that's maybe where some people get it a bit wrong, where they kind of is there an opportunity here? I guess I took it many ways in reaching out. So I really went a creative route into how I got in contact with these industry leaders. So I guess a few tips I could give to a few grads: reach out in a creative way. So these people are in creative industries, and they appreciate people who put effort. So for example, when DDB consolidated their McDonald's account, I created my own meal. So I guess a Benjamin Trini kind of meal. And I think if you can pull a picture up for everyone to see once we, you do your thing, post production. So I did like a fries McDonald's fries, and I did all my experience as like chips. So where I worked, what I studied, some of those initiatives and courses that I did as fries, and I did the cup as like my message. So I'm looking to reach out. And then I did I think on the napkin, I did my email address, my contact details. And so I got 3 or 4 people from DDB message me, and they were like, that's super cool. Like the creatives saw it, they loved it. I was at Clemenger, and then one of the guys said they saw it, and they were like, are you sure you don't want to be a creative? Are you sure you don't want to be a creative? I was like, no, I want to be planning. And then so I did stuff like that. I also made a Benjamin Trini unboxing as well. And so what it was a box, and it would open up, and there was a coffee cup inside. And I'm sure you can put the video up here as well. The box would open, and the box will like fall out of itself, and it would have my experiences. Like, I'm reaching out for a cup of coffee. I'm super keen to get my foot in the door. I'd love to expand my network. I'd love to reach out and connect with you. And that really worked well. And some other ways as well is, a lot of these people who you're looking to connect with have done podcasts before, have done industry talks before, and it's really great to see how they talk, see what they're passionate about. For example, I met with, everyone knows Adam Ferrier. He's a bit of a character, and how I approach him is going to be different to how I approach someone else. And he's done a lot of talks, and you want to be creative when you're meeting with people who are creative and who are known for their creativity. And I remember, I think he called himself a weirdo, and his agency model about being different. And I think I finished my email with like, from one weirdo to another, just little things like that, just little things like
Brilliant.
that you can have little bit of a personal connection with. I guess some other tips that I kind of picked up was, so each agency, I guess, has their own specialty, and it's being able to, like you said, that unique selling point. Like, what can you offer that's different and is valuable to them? So another example, one of the people I reached out to, so TBWA have like a side agency, I guess, called Fabric. So it deals with the fashion, like, retailers. And what I was able to do there was say, I worked at a sneaker store 4 years, during uni. I worked with Adidas Originals in New York. I do have that passion for fashion. And so, that passion for fashion. I mean, I'm in the advertising uniform now, the all black. But like I said from the start, passion is what gets you far, I think, in this industry, especially as a grad wanting to break into the industry. And you got to, I think you got to understand as well, is don't expect jobs to fall out from these conversations. That's the mindset going into these coffee catch ups and these catch ups and these one-on-one like discussions. You can't expect jobs to be falling out of them. You got to understand that it's all about expanding your network. That's how you get your foot into the industry.
Yeah, definitely. No one likes being sold to, or or people just begging and coming across as desperate.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's nothing worse than that. I've been in a couple of interviews lately where we've had candidates come in, and it's been like, I've been really stressed out from uni, blah blah blah. It's like, mate, I would do anything to be back at uni. Those are some of the best years of my life. So just pro tip for those people looking to break into the industry: a sob story does not get you a job. It's I mean, that might sound like brutally harsh, but that doesn't just apply to advertising. I think that's just a life thing in general. Right? I think at the end of the day, like you said, we want people who think a bit differently, people who are, as you say, weirdos. And doesn't mean you have to be an actual proper weirdo, because no one wants an actual proper weirdo. But just be yourself. I think it's a two-way thing, right? I think what you did there was very smart, in the sense that you go, you know what, I have that passion for fashion. I'm going to approach agencies that have that specialism. And again, it speaks to your sort of guiding thought of, passion gets you places in a way. Like, if you're just determined enough, you will find a way. And then you end up finding an agency that matches your passion, your skill set, and then something that you can offer to them. It's the perfect storm. I think what a lot of people do is they look at campaign brief, they look at big agencies and what have you, and just go like, I'm just going to have a cookie cutter approach and just play a numbers game.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. And I mean, to a certain degree, it is a numbers game. But the whole point of this podcast is so that, I keep saying podcast, YouTube channel, but there will be a podcast eventually, is to basically have a structured approach to how you do this to help you get to where you want to get to faster. And I think what you said about don't treat it as I'm going to apply for a job. It's what's my approach to getting my career in advertising should be the mindset that you should have.
And I guess to finish off my tips, my wealth of knowledge, I guess what I found from my personal experience is LinkedIn messages didn't really get me anywhere. I always went that extra mile where I'd ring up the agency and I'd be like, hey, I'm looking to contact Chris Murphy, is his email address chris.murphy@XYZ. And I always went an email or sending a DM pack or something. So I think people get a bit not shocked, but if you saw an email like introduction or catch up or lovely to meet as like the subject line, I think that catches people out a bit and catches their attention. I feel like everyone's messaging on LinkedIn and going that extra step. Like, I know, how would you feel if you saw that come up in your inbox with, someone reaching out like a grad to catch up with you?
Oh, totally. And we still get that to this day. And a lot of the time we do help out. One of the most effective subject headers I've ever seen was just "Hey." I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. And I opened up and it was just this kid who just said, look, I know that you went to my uni a few years ago. I saw your name was on the alumni and that you work at Grey. Like, I'd love to catch up with you and just help me get into advertising. That same guy with the same persistence and what have you is now working at a top tier media agency in London and absolutely killing it. So
it's genuine. It's a genuine reach out. He just genuinely wants to catch up. It wasn't. Are you guys hiring? Is there any it's a genuine expanding my network conversation.
Yeah, definitely. And so you mentioned that your hot tips there. We have be hungry and passionate. We have really understand when connecting to people and your overall approach, making sure that you're really as creative and making the most of it as possible. Yeah. You mentioned you had a couple of others. What were those?
Yeah. So the email, go through email, not so much LinkedIn, and have a plan. So I had on the day that I resigned at Starcom, I knew I needed a plan for these next few months. Otherwise, you what is it? You don't plan. If you don't plan to fail, you plan. If you don't plan, you plan to fail. I think it is.
Well, I have heard if there's no plan, then how can you fail? No, I'm joking. But so have a plan, basically.
Have a plan.
So what did your plan look like?
Yeah, so I spent 2 days just getting names, where people worked, understanding how agency structure worked in some of the agencies I wanted to connect with. So what I found as well, maybe don't go for the top tier, that C-suite. Maybe try and hit the people below, like people in your level who are doing those day-to-day hiring decisions and those who you can relate with better. So I had a list of names, agencies, and email addresses, and each day I would research them a little bit more. So for example, Matt here at the hallway, when he came up on my list, I spent a day and a half. What podcast has he been on? What talks has he done? What thought leadership has he written? Has he worked anywhere I've worked before or anywhere that I know? And trying to understand him and get to know him before I even send out an email. So it's not cold. It's not, out of the blue. We have like a bit of a already personal connection kind of thing.
Let's say you had an opportunity to meet yourself a year ago. Yeah. What would be the advice that you'd give yourself?
Believe in yourself and know what you're doing is the right decision. Quitting your job in the middle of a pandemic, I think during that time I just had a lot going on. Is this really what I want to do? Is it unsafe? How long am I going to be able to work for? But I think I'll be telling myself, like, if this is really what you want to do, follow your heart, follow your passion, because if you work hard, you will get what you want. So I just told myself to believe in yourself and know what you're doing is the right decision.
Ben, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.
And mate, I'll see you at work later on.
All right, thanks, mate.